1700 ship found in World Trade Center ruins. Seems like we keep finding all of these little AI videos, huh? Clickbait. All right, well, this was 11 years ago, so I don't know. I mean, I thought I knew everything there was to know about the trade centers back in my conspiracy days. Come on, you know. And if you don't know, back then, there was these crazy, wild conspiracy theories about the trade centers. I don't really want to get into it. But anyways, I studied that stuff for quite some time. I even watched documentaries on the building of the trade centers. The original one. I know this new one. Okay, I'm talking about the original ones, the Twin Towers. So I thought I knew everything there was to know about the trade centers, but apparently it looks like I didn't know about the boat underneath the trade centers. Fox 5 News. All right, let's check
Meanwhile,
this out.
a couple of years ago, they actually found a ship right by the World Trade Center, an actual old sailing ship. You can kind of make it out here in this footage. This is back in 2010.
Man, this was a long time ago. If it was 2010 when they found it, it does look like a ship. I mean, this is pretty cool though if it's real. Cleaning up the mess, rebuild. Oh no, they already had it cleaned up. This is just because building the new plazas and stuff, right?
Now, ever since they found this thing, archaeologists have been going over, with the little brush that they do and looking at the artifacts, and they made some discoveries, Carrie, or made some conclusions.
The ship had actually been there,
Discoveries or conclusions? Which one is it?
been buried there for more than 200 years. And they also
200 years. That's a long time. This whole time it's been sitting underneath those towers.
figured out how that old shipwreck ended up underneath the former World Trade Center site.
Well, since we're in conspiracies with the trade centers, uh, my best guess was the ship was stolen, right? And the person that they stole it from was some, I don't know. Come on, let's think of a conspiracy, guys. We could make all of this up. Who cares, right? And it was a very powerful man, and so they dug a deep, deep hole and had the family out there to dig a deep, deep hole because they want to bury the boat, and then they dragged the boat to bury it, to come back to it, because there was actually a carving on the ship that you have to use the whole ship to put the puzzle together to find uh uh find what are those people called that ran around. Knights Templar, right? And they had a treasure that they hid, and this was part of the Freemasons trying to keep the treasure alive. That we did it. We did it. We made a new conspiracy. I bet we can publish this, make the video look really, really good, and the next thing you know, all the conspiracy nuts be like, oh, that's why no one really heard about it. They're trying to hide it up. They're trying to cover it up. That's why they built the trade centers there. Hey, you really know that's most likely what happened if somebody comes up with this idea.
It was uncovered about 4 years ago, as we said, during construction of the new One World Trade Center. Dates back to 1773.
Okay.
1773. How did they have that exact date? It's probably like a carving or a name on the wood, right? If they found it 4 years ago, you'd think they'll have. Well, they probably do have a lot of it already dug out. We're just probably getting the chance to see the bottom. This is the thing about archaeology. You don't see the beginning stages of a discovery. You only find out about it years down the road. By that time, they've already took all the stuff, all the good stuff out. And so now you're just like this. You just have the leftover bottom timbers. And now you have to wait. Usually you hear about it after the scholars or whoever decides to publish about it, but they can go 10 years of finding something significant, but you would never hear about it until they all decided to publish all of their work on the same time. And this is why you see like this whole group of stuff just kind of just out there all of a sudden. But then if you take the work and how long it would take to dig up some of these places, you're like, wait a minute, they started 10 years ago? Why am I hearing about it now? It's just a way for them to make money and stuff like that. It's just, and then they can move around the artifacts accordingly to what they want to stick in a museum, what they want to sell to private collectors, keep for themselves. It's a dirty world. Literally dirty world. Well, this wouldn't be muddy.
Okay, what else did they find out?
Well, they figured out that the white oak wood came from a Philadelphia area forest that year, and they figured that out because it's the same wood that was used in construction of Independence Hall in Philadelphia.
They're just testing this wood in old buildings too, I guess. I mean, there's not much for archaeologists to do in America. I mean, there's a lot of sites, but they've already been picked clean from the 1800s, so there's not much left. So this is probably really exciting for them.
That's kind of cool.
Pretty interesting.
All right, let's talk to some of the experts. These are the archaeologists who've been looking at this ship for the past couple of years.
It is somewhat surprising. You look around the city's skyline and you think there couldn't possibly be anything left. And where we found the ship, there were buildings standing around that area.
We found thousands of artifacts kind of
What is that, a musket ball?
stuck in between all the timbers of the ship, and we screened everything. We went through all the muck and we picked out all the little things. So we found things.
Yeah, exactly what I said. They had 4 years to clean up all of the good stuff. I bet they had a cover over that ship too. Because usually what they would do is in a situation like this is they will completely cover it up. And it'll be like a secret operation. Almost as secretive as a UFO landing. But we get more information about a UFO landing than an archaeological site. And some of it I can understand, right? Where tomb robbers or people like me, but well, let me see if I can find any goodies. They just want it all for themselves. That's why they pass all these crazy laws.
Related to the ship, like pieces of braided rope, and this is wooden fragments that were probably part of a scrub brush.
Well, not very much to look at. Piece of a rope. Exciting. A brush. Yay. I can't wait to pay money to get into the museum to see it. Yay. A seashell? What? In a boat?
That's kind of cool. Now, that looks like a shell.
Right.
Sorry, some of this stuff just...
No. What that is it's an ancient tool that they used to use to scrape fish scales off of fish before they cook them and eat them.
looks like a hunk of mud, but they were able to find some pretty cool...
That looks like a jawbone of, I would say, a horse, maybe a cow. I really don't have a scale to see how big it is. That's definitely teeth right there, and that's definitely bone. So that is definitely, or maybe part of a human. I really don't know. It's just I gotta see the scale, but that means there was people dead in it. Oh yeah, because you didn't want the secret to get out, so the most untrustworthy workers got buried with the ship, kind of like they do in Egyptian times. See, we're getting this conspiracy going, guys. We got this.
Pieces of gear. We actually had these archaeologists back on the show. They were very excited back in 2010, and they showed us some of the stuff they had come up with. And I was holding that thing. I was confused by it.
Coal or resin? More looks like resin.
But very cool. These archaeologists really know their stuff, and we're glad they made these conclusions. Okay.
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, let's look this up. Ship found in World Trade Center ruins. Yeah, sure. Let's just go ahead and just copy. We'll just paste that. We'll just go ahead and do that. Okay.
A Revolutionary War era ship found under the World Trade Center.
It's a warship? Okay, so those were like musket balls when they had that like a rusty clump. If I remember right, isn't it under the trade centers just saturated? They have to put the pylons all the way down to bedrock just to hold those skyscrapers up because that's just water-filled muck underneath. All right, I haven't watched a documentary for a long time, okay, so don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's unstable ground and they had to put pylons when they were building the World Trade Centers the first time. And they had hammer them down to it's a bedrock to keep the buildings from sinking.
Now has permanent home. The gunboat was discovered 20 feet below street level in 2010 during construction at the World Trade Center site. Researchers believe it was built in Philadelphia around 1775. It was possibly captured by the British. A team has been restoring the boat for display at the New York State Museum in Albany.
All right. I like the secrets of the gunboat at Ground Zero. Okay, so it's a gunboat.
So today we're fortunate enough to have two archaeologists, principal archaeologists responsible for finding, saving, conserving, and ultimately reconstructing the ship at the New York State Museum.
Yeah, when I see these kind of things like this, they are really copyright stricken happy people. I mean, even watching some of the Christian ones where they'll have a Christian event and they'll have it will be set up like this, they would immediately copy strike you. Like, our material costs money, nothing's free. All right. We'll just kind of skim through it and just see the pictures, because they would probably take pictures during it.
AKRF archaeologists noted there were ship timbers. And everything kind of stopped. So, okay, what are we going to do now?
Wait.
Trade Center, about 2 blocks in from the Hudson River, the AKRF archaeologists noted there were ship timbers.
Why would they have archaeologists already there, though? Is that just something common? I know, like in Israel and places like that, it would be really common, but I really don't know. Maybe because they find stuff all the time, so they just bring archaeologists when they, or anything they dig up, they just call the archaeologists to come and take a look to make sure it's not something precious or something worth value.
And everything kind of stopped. So, okay, what are we going to do now? But what were they doing there? And that became the question. Well, the English took that island from the Dutch in the 1680s. It went back and forth a little bit, and they continued to build. And what they ended up doing...
Go back to the boat construction site. Yeah, I just don't want... Yeah, I understand these people work hard on their videos and stuff, but you know, I just don't want them to be like, oh, he's just watching. No, I want to learn. I'm just wanting to stream while I'm learning, okay? I'm already doing it. I might as well have some friends join me, you know? I don't have much of those these days.
So, Kathleen, my wife and I woke up to National Public Radio one morning, and they said they found what appears to be a colonial vessel underneath where they're rebuilding the World Trade Center. We live in Maine. And we said, whoa, that'd be fun to go down there and see it, you know, another shipwreck that we don't have to put all the scuba gear on and look at. We can just walk over. And we had breakfast, and Diane from AKRF, Michael Pappalardo was in the audience here, took us down to see the site, but traffic and rain interfered. We got about 5 minutes to look at the vessel, and then we all had to go to a meeting with the people in the very expensive suits up on 20th story from various
okay,
and
that's another thing. If you have not noticed that they will talk about their credentials, what they were doing for breakfast the morning that before they showed up, they do this because their talks and their conversations are going to be really short based upon the evidence and information they have. I can make a 2-minute video explaining this boat, exactly where it came from, what wood it was, what kind of ship it was, and it was underneath the Trade Center. Boom, over. Now, these people are needing to make money. So nobody's going to sit here and listen to a guy talk for 3 minutes and pay like, oh, that's it? I'm like, well, what else you want me? Yeah, we can get really deep into the wood structure, and you know, there's not much you can say about a boat, well, old boat like this, right? So that's why they're always having story time, because they're just trying to give filler.
So we started on it and took it apart piece by piece. So it was facing kind of east-west, and the shape of we couldn't, part of it was destroyed by that retaining wall. So that end was destroyed. The other end we could see, and we could at first could only see the.
Yeah, that's to hold all that muck and stuff. And those big, massive bolts right there go way down into the bedrock to keep the wall from caving in. Yeah, because that's just all soupy mess. You could actually, well, you could see it underneath them. Yeah, that's just all a soupy mess. Those things are big, aren't they? Look at that. Look at those big beams. That's holding that whole wall from coming in.
The tops of the timbers, and they look like the bluff part about water level of a bow. So we said, it's probably the bow. The other part of the stern. When we started going down, it was obvious it was the stern and had it back.
Yeah, we're just getting pictures. This has to, because how they bend up, we're only going to see what they dug up at the bottom. This is extremely common. There's people talking about you would get even kicked off of a site if you bring in a camera. They only bring in a camera when they're ready for you to bring in a camera. You know, I have conspiracies on that, especially Egypt. Egypt is one of the most, you only hear about it 10 years after everything's translated, and there's an alternative history that they don't want out. It's what I believe. Like the whole tunnel underneath the pyramid. No, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Why does everybody write about it until now? It's all gone. Why can't there be a tunnel? Why do you have to hide a tunnel? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, they're just gonna go ahead and we're only gonna get the basics of the bottoms. Yeah. Again, we're only gonna see them digging the bottom. Let's find something more. Okay, there we go. We get more shape, more of the boat shape.
That's not how loud it was. It was about 5 times that loud because all around us were big machines working, excavators. There was I think on the end of an excavator, a hydraulic piston that was going down, breaking up concrete. And that was about 10 feet away from us sometimes.
Now, it would be loud too, because not only that, you're not out in the open air. You're actually down into a hole of concrete everywhere. So the sound is just going to bounce off. And then, yeah, that must have been. Let's hurry up and get this boat out of here. I don't want to be in here any longer. I'm not having fun anymore, guys. And I'm in a concrete room. And I got beds on the walls and everything just to get down the echo a little bit in the high pings and pitches and stuff. Just imagine down there of all that equipment down there grinding and the excavators, tracks, high squeals. Man.
It was in the 90s, sunny day every day. And we're down 20 some feet in this pit and all these machines working around us. So you can imagine what the air was like in there. But we proceeded. And every time at lunchtime, we'd have a LiDAR crew come in and they'd set up and they'd take hundreds of thousands of points of this so that later they could make this and we could say, well, can you give us a cross section here and there? And they.
Oh, okay. So this is a LiDAR visual effects.
You just play with a computer and out it would come. So that was pretty cool. We also had a three-dimensional spherical photography done, which I can't really show you today. So.
Oh, I can't really show us today. Probably doesn't have photos, or he's just selecting photos.
Stern knee. Okay, okay. So the stern knee. This is a heavy timber that's carved. You look at the way it's carved when you get there. It's pretty cool. I'd never seen one built like that. And my hands of it. And now the question.
I wonder how much it costs for them to dig this whole thing up and move it. They're probably going to use it for a museum piece, or maybe the owners or the investors of the new Trade Center Plaza is probably going to use it for a display in their building. That would be really cool. That would bring a lot of foot traffic to their building, huh? All right, let's just go ahead and just do this. We'll just do this. We'll do this. We'll just read about it. Ship found at World Trade Centers, discovered during excavation at the World Trade Center site in 2010. Completed by the end of August. Okay, so looks like they're getting close to just wrapping it up. Well, that was interesting. Didn't even know this thing existed. See, you can learn a lot of new things even if you thought you knew everything there is to know about a certain place. All you gotta do is just keep on digging. Well, I hope I earned the thumbs up, a like, and if you would like, maybe you can subscribe to the channel. If you want to see my live stream, I do live stream for right now. I'm gonna do it in different places, but right now I'm on Kick at Lost Among the World, and I'll see you on the next one.